The status of your policy. Have you received premium payment statement? Contact your insurance company to check your policy status, the policy value and the premium payment position. Pay your premiums on a regular basis to receive the full benefits of your policy and avoid cancellation of your policy. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured.
Good evening. This is Sunday Express on the 11th of June 2023. You're watching KBC Channel 1. Now, the latest report indicates that Embu County led in the uptake of family planning methods in the last 1 year. That is the report that was made public in 2022. However, Marsabit, Siaya, Garissa are among counties where the uptake of family planning has been recorded as low. Tonight, we're talking about family planning. In other quarters, it is even referred to as taboo. But tonight, the question is, why the missing gender? And we want for you to be part of this particular conversation. So the question is, what's your preferred form of family planning and why? Get tweeting. Our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1. Mine is at Ray Manyara. Before we get to our discussion tonight, let's have a look at those stories that have been making headlines.
Finally, white smoke. The Parliamentary Committee on Finance says it has reached a consensus on contentious clauses in the finance bill during a retreat in Naivasha. Securing Africa's future. President William Ruto challenges African leaders to lobby for a just global financial system to facilitate the region's development.
In terms of development financing architecture, the global system is rigged against African progress.
And going the extra mile. Tonight we feature Rapogi High School principal whose calling goes beyond the classroom.
Good evening once again. I'm Regina Manyara and this is Sunday Express. My colleague on sign language is none other than Lancer Adengo. Now, the Parliamentary Committee on Finance has reached a consensus on all controversial clauses in the Finance Bill of 2023. Molo Member of Parliament Kuria Kimani led committee agreed to amend some of the controversial clauses after a 5-day retreat in Naivasha. Though they did not divulge which clauses had been amended, the committee said that all views and petitions from members of the public had been addressed.
Even as the debate over the fate of the contentious Finance Bill 2023 continues to rage on, with both leading political factions having their say on the matter. The Parliamentary Committee on Finance, led by Molo Member of Parliament Kimani Kuria, has reached a consensus on all controversial clauses in the Finance Bill of 2023.
I am happy to report that we are in agreement as a Committee of Finance and National Planning on the matters that we have deliberated upon on end, and we really appreciate all the feedback that we've got from the public, from the stakeholders. It has been quite a very, very, very engaging conversations.
Though they did not name the particular clauses that had been amended, the committee said that all views and petitions from members of the public had been addressed.
Our colleagues from opposition and even some from our coalition should know that they can actually write to the Speaker and make amendments. And this is amendments have been brought by members of Parliament at the floor of the House, and some of them have seen the light of day.
Despite the committee reaching a compromise, the political class continued to differ over the said bill.
Sisi kama watu wa Kericho tunawaambia mtu asijaribu kupinga bill ya finance sababu tunataka wale wako chini wainuliwe waende wapi? Juu. Sisi tunataka tuwaambie tafadhali, ikiwa uko na pendekezo ambayo unaona it can make the bill better, you take it to Parliament.
This as businessman Jimmy Wanjigi has criticized the proposed finance bill, terming it as over-ambitious and unachievable.
And I can tell you, what you're going to see in the budget this week is very, very frightening to some of us. They are proposing to raise, in the next 1 year, 2.9 trillion out of taxation.
The committee is expected to table its report on Tuesday next week, ahead of the budget reading by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndogo. Abdiaziz Hashim for Sunday Express.
Finance bill debate continues to rage. Now it's going to be presented to Parliament on the 15th, that is Thursday next week, or rather this week. Now, President William Ruto has challenged African leaders to lobby for the removal of the current global financing system, which he maintains is prejudicial to the continent. Now, the president, who was addressing the Djibouti National Assembly, said Africa has been profiled as risky for investment on spurious grounds, and the current climate crisis will be brought under control once the global financial and governance framework facilitates the continent to emerge as a champion of green industrial revolution.
President William Ruto was received in Djibouti by President Ismail Omar Guelleh. The two leaders held talks on strengthening existing ties as well as securing stability in the Horn of Africa. Ruto said he is committed to eliminating the barriers imposed by visa requirements for Djiboutian residents traveling to Kenya.
We will not only make it possible for people holding diplomatic passports and services passports to come to Kenya without the need for a visa, but I have also extended it to all the people of Djibouti, even those holding ordinary passports.
The two leaders signed a memorandum of understanding for cooperation in the field of energy. Additionally, the Kenya Electricity Generating Company will drill 2 geothermal wells in Djibouti. They also agreed on technical cooperation in establishing a framework for the development of a modern state-of-the-art facility in the field of sports and arts. They also signed an MOU on mutual cooperation in Foreign Service Academy and tourism, and agreed for Kenya to support English language training and its integration into Djibouti's curricula. Kenya extended an offer of 300 positions in its higher learning institutions to Djiboutian students at the same fees applicable to Kenyan students. Additionally, President Ruto addressed Djibouti National Assembly, where he challenged members of parliament to solve Africa's problems through African solutions. He maintained his push for a just global financial system that would allow Africa to prosper and invest in technologies.
Africa has been arbitrarily and prejudicially profiled as risky for investment on entirely spurious grounds. As a result, the volumes and financing available for African development are traditionally minute, and the cost of these finances is notoriously extortionate. It is difficult to avoid concluding that in terms of development financing architecture, the global system is rigged against African progress.
He also called for reforms in the United Nations Security Council for the region's peace and stability, as well as urged African leaders to unite and push for the region's interests.
Do you know that only 5 countries of this world hold meaningful power in the UN Security Council? None of them is African. More than half of the world's population is not represented in the UN Security Council.
President Ruto will on Monday attend the 14th IGAD Ordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government. Nancy Okware, Sunday Express.
Back to the local scene, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has urged security officers in Laikipia County to step up their efforts in combating the prevailing insecurity. Speaking at ACK Christ the King Pro Cathedral in Nyahururu town, the Deputy President said the government will not tolerate laxity in ensuring safety of its people.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua joined the faithful for a church service at ACK Christ the King Pro Cathedral in Nyahururu town, Laikipia County. The event also doubled as a fundraiser to support the construction of an ultra-modern cathedral for the church. Here, Gachagua called on the security officers in the region to intensify operations, saying the government will ensure everyone was secure in the region.
Please, can you do your work? Yeah, mimi hiyo maneno ya vifo hapa sitaki. I mean, why? I'll call you for a meeting with the leaders, you tell me why. What you need from us, you tell us.
The Deputy President emphasized the government's commitment to bringing lasting peace to Laikipia County and fulfilling the pre-election promise.
We cannot have a situation pale watu wanauawa kama kuku, alafu watu hawalali, na nyinyi mko hapo, mko na mshahara, mumevaa uniform.
The Deputy President had no kind words for government administration officials and security officers abetting illicit brew businesses in the area of their jurisdiction.
So kama ni station commander, kama kwako iko pombe, iko madawa, pia uamue. Kiona umechoka na kazi, hakuna shida. Vijana ni wengi wanataka kazi ya kuwa OCS.
Gachagua at the time called for the support of the finance bill to enable the government to finance development projects across the country.
Hizi pesa lazima tutoe pahali fulani, na hatutaki kukopa deni kwa sababu Kenya karibu ipigiwe kengele.
Joan Junge for Sunday Express.
The government says it will not tolerate protests and destruction of property over the outcome of the Finance Bill 2023 in Parliament. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki says Kenyan leaders must learn to use institutions provided to resolve any grievances. Kindiki was speaking in Tharaka Nithi, where he also differed with those opposed to the regulation of religious organizations, saying the task force is not about limiting freedom of worship, but weeding out rogue preachers.
The discourse around the Finance Bill 2023 continues to elicit varied reactions, with emerging details revealing the Parliamentary Committee on Finance has reached a consensus on controversial clauses after 5 days retreat in Naivasha. And while the Kuria Kimani-led committee was reluctant to divulge details on which parts of the finance bill had been amended, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has maintained that the government will not tolerate any destruction of property in the name of protests.
Hatutakubali ati kwa sababu hutaki sheria fulani ati utishe mwananchi kwa kwenda kuleta maandamano, kuvuruga amani, kutatiza uchukuzi wa umma ama kuvunja maduka ya watu. We will not allow it. Haitakubalika.
Kindiki saying any party that will be aggrieved by the parliamentary outcome on the finance bill should use other institutions such as the judiciary to contest the decision.
Lazima tujifunze wakati tuko na malalamiko yoyote ya kisiasa, ya kiuchumi, unafikiri umefinyiliwa mahali, wewe sema malalamiko yako, na vile vile tutumie taasisi za kisheria na kikatiba kusuluhisha malalamiko yetu.
On the Shakahola killings, Kindiki said the government will not relent in flushing out crooks and criminals, hiding behind religion and using the scriptures to radicalize and indoctrinate their followers.
Hatutakubali kamwe katika taifa letu watu kutumia dini kujificha katika maandiko matakatifu, kujificha katika Korani ama Biblia ili kuua watu. The government will do whatever it takes to make sure that never again in our country we have the kind of things that we have seen in Shakahola. Sisi hatupigani na makanisa, tunapigana na wahalifu na magaidi.
The CS spoke on Sunday during a church service at a Methodist church in Tharaka-Nithi's Marimanti town.
And exactly after the break, we'll pick it up from there to bring you an update on the Shakahola situation. And keep the conversation going on Twitter in regard to our conversation tonight. What's your preferred family planning method and why? We take a quick breather. We'll be right back.
The Engineers Board of Kenya is a statutory body established with the mandate of regulating, setting standards, and registration of engineers and engineering consulting firms. The board, together with its stakeholders, will host the 4th Engineering Partnership Convention EPC 2023 from 14th to 16th June 2023 at Sawela Lodge in Naivasha. The theme of the convention is Transforming Kenya's Economy, Engineers' Contribution to Development, and aims to bring together policymakers, industry experts, academics, researchers, and Kenyan engineers. This event will be presided over by His Excellency President William Ruto. To register, visit www.events.ebk.go.ke/booking. Engineers Board of Kenya, enhancing professionalism. KBC is the official media partner.
Huchagui familia yako, ni zawadi ya Mungu kwako kama ulivyozawadi kwao. Iwapo unakohoa, unahisi uchungu kwenye kifua, uchovu kila wakati, joto jingi mwilini, unakosa hamu ya kula au kupoteza uzito haraka bila kukusudia na kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, waweza kuwa waugua TB. Nenda hospitalini ukapimwe. Ikibainika ya kwamba ni TB, utapewa dawa, na ukimeza vizuri ulivyoshauriwa na daktari, utapona. TB yaweza kuangamiza jamii yako. Usikubali. Matibabu ni bila malipo katika hospitali zote za serikali.
Welcome to East Africa. This is Safari Rally Kenya.
The WRC Safari Rally is set for June 22nd to June 25th in Naivasha. This year's event, the 7th leg of the WRC calendar, consisting of 19 stages, will see drivers, among them defending champion and series leader Khalid Vampera, battle in what's considered as the toughest rally in the world. KBC Channel 1 will bring the action to your living room, where a total of only 5 stages will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and the Shakedown exclusive on our Facebook page. Catch the WRC Safari Rally on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Cheza Loto Moto.
Kwa majina naitwa David Irene, nimetoka Mwiki. Loto Moto ni show iko sawa, ni kitu true. So na walikanyi wote mcheze Loto Moto.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number weka 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2000. Lipa kisha subiri draw.
Good evening. If you're tuning in, this is Sunday Express. Now the Senate committee investigating the Shakahola killings that left more than 200 people dead said it will make its findings public immediately it completes the probe. William Cheptumo, member of the ad hoc committee probing the Shakahola tragedy, says Kenyans have a right to know what transpired at Shakahola. While in Kabaratonjo, Cheptumo called on Kenyans to be cautious with churches that preach outside the biblical doctrine. Last month, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki told the Senate that Mackenzie had hired gangs who would kill anyone attempting to escape from the Shakahola grounds in a belief that their maker would return by the end of June this month.
How is it that now we had security agencies around Kilifi and they were not able to detect this? So that is what Senate now is really doing. We have already engaged in Kwale, in Kilifi County, a number of stakeholders. We had a session with the security apparatus in that county. So we are not going to, sideline the church in this. The committee is very clear. Our mandate is very clear. We want to engage the church so that then we see how best we can be able to don't have a situation like this in the future. It is very important.
The public will be awaiting that particular report. Now, only a handful of people are aware of this Afro-origin Indian tribe that live in India with an African heritage. The Sidis, as they are known, were transported as slaves as early as the 7th century and identify as Indians, communicate in the Indian dialect and follow the same local rituals and traditions. So what is their story? Tomboya caught up with the Indo-African tribe as they jetted into Kenya on Saturday morning ahead of India's Independence Day celebrations.
Saturday morning at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi. The Sidi community, an African Indian tribe who trace their lineage to Kenya and Tanzania, set foot on Kenyan soil. It was a moment of deja vu as they were received by officials of the Indian High Commission ahead of the celebrations to mark India's 75 years of independence. Their arrival in Kenya marking the beginning of a journey of tracing connections. The Kenyan-Indian link dates back to the arrival of Sidis to India through the Arab slave trade in 628 AD. A moment of deep reflection and joy for Hanif Sidi, a member of the cultural troupe Sidi Damal Goma. It is his first time in Kenya. It's possible his forefathers lived here hundreds of years ago.
So they are feeling very nicely. So they are telling that they are very happy to come here to meet their ancestors, like, when they went to India, they are just feeling that we are coming here in Kenya. So they are feeling very happy.
Although they are an African origin Indian group found mostly in Gujarat and Karnataka, they self-identify as Indians.
They are meeting with their brothers in Kenya and they are very happy and they are saying that we are here at their home. They are feeling like that.
The Sidi Goma dance troupe is in the country to perform at a cultural event to be held under the aegis of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Shortly after, it was time to head to the hotel. They then burst into song, no doubt, an indication that they kept their rich musical tradition alive throughout generations. They chant the melody adapted from the African rituals, which is a blend of Swahili, Hindi, and Gujarati languages. Their physical African characteristics so visible. Today they have achieved socio-cultural integration in India and are foreigners to Kenya. The Indian Parliament approved some cities into a scheduled tribe list as recently as 2019. This means that they are now eligible for benefits like political representation, reserved seats in schools, and government jobs.
The exuberant energy and joy that the Sidi Goma bring on stage is both powerful and captivating. Their unique African Indian heritage, a fascinating discovery. On the 12th of June, they perform at the Jalaramo Auditorium in Parklands, an exhilarating experience to expect.
Tom Boyer, Sunday Express.
Thank you, Tom, for that illuminating piece there. Now, more than 50 young men and women in the Maili 46 town in Kajiado, West Sub-County, have gotten a chance to hone their painting skills in a unique program seeking to beautify the town through art. The first phase of the project, dubbed the Art Town, saw 10 local youth benefit from a rigorous drawing and painting training from expert. Yusufara looks at how the once sleepy town is now bouncing back to life courtesy of the area youth and their love for art.
The once a sleepy Maili 46 town in Kajiado West Sub-County is coming back to life. This is attributed to an initiative powered by the area youth. Upon entry, your eyes are treated to an optical buffet of nicely painted homes and shops. Here, the locals, both young and old, are deeply engrossed in their art, trying to come up with pieces to adorn their already beautified town. The initiative was a brainchild of a Norwegian citizen who visited this town during the drought period and decided to inspire hope through art.
50. Yeah.
Locals, especially the youth, have embraced the art and are doing their best to hone their skills further and put them to good use. Thanks to this project, dubbed the Art Town, businesses have reopened and the town is beaming with life. For parents and members of the community whose keen have been drawn into this initiative, it couldn't have come at a better time, noting that many young people have been kept away from social vices that would have otherwise led them astray.
Kwanza kazi ya wizi ilikuwa mingi kwa sababu walikuwa idle. Saizi wamepata kazi wanafanya, wamekuwa busy na tumeona kumbe walikuwa na talent ya kuchora, ni vile hawakuwa na mahali wanaweza chora na hawakupata mtu wenye ataweza wasaidia kila mtu ajue talent yake, na saizi kila mtu amejua talent yake. Tumeona wengi wanaweza chora.
Hata wengi mashuleni wameanza, hata shuleni sasa ukienda unakuta ya kwamba watoto wameanza kuchora, wanafurahia kabisa, na wengi wakikuja kushika hii mambo ya kuchora wanaweza jiemploy, wanaweza jiajiri, inaweza kuwa kazi ambayo watapata mapato.
We have actually had youth volunteering to beautify this town, not on money, but because of the love of transforming their village.
The project has received a shot in the arm thanks to a paint and solutions company coming on board to partner with volunteer partners to tap into their skill and give them an alternative income source through tourism.
Talent can transform an individual's life and the community's life.
The local artists here say they will continue using these skills in hopes of tapping into a global market in the days to come.
Itaweza nisaidia kwa kwenda mbali kukuwa an artist.
Ilikuja kama vijana wengi walikuwa wanakaa idle, walikuwa wanakula miraa, walikuwa wanakunywa pombe, walikuwa wanakaa wanacheza mapool.
Maili 46 has now earned itself a new name, the Art Town, and is no longer your ordinary pastoralist town. Yusufar reporting for Sunday Express.
It's beautiful, right? Okay, now an age-old adage acknowledges that it takes a big heart to help shape little minds. This is an adage that appears to have defined the calling by St. Joseph's Rapogi High School principal Erastus Nyagwa to go the extra mile to finance the education of learners from poor backgrounds. His drive comes from his personal experience of having been turned away from school for lack of fees and tattered shorts. Achola Simon brings us the story.
St. Joseph's Boys High School, Rapogi in Migori County. I visited the school for a different assignment, but during my visit, my journalistic instincts kicked in when I noticed the unique relationship between the students and the principal, a fatherly and friendly relationship that one rarely experiences between a school administrator and the students.
Most of us tend to judge others, that we should not do that. Before you punish a student, before you make a judgment about his condition, make sure you get to know why.
My curiosity would drive me to understand why, and the findings would paint a picture of a man who is doing more than just instilling knowledge. The principal is just 3 months old in the school, but already has 2 students under his care.
It was on a Sunday mass when at that time I was a mass server, serving for the priest, and it was just Easter, the beginning of Easter. So when I was taking the holy water to the priest, I was having some challenges when walking with my shoes because they were worn out by the sides. So when I just took the water to the priest, even the priest came closer so that I may not struggle walking with him to sprinkle the holy water to the students who are being baptized. So that's when the principal saw me I had worn out shoes. Yeah, and after that is what he announced at the podium, that he will decide to help me and buy for me the shoes that I'm wearing right now.
As we probe further, we realize that over the course of his teaching career, first as a teacher and now as a principal, Erastus Nyagwa has sponsored the education of well over 52 students from poor backgrounds.
The one who has cleared campus did human resource. There's one who is, others are taking education, one is taking medicine. There are several.
So what drives him to spend every single penny he has to help the needy in the society?
I was invited to join Reburiri High School, but my father was not able. When I went there, that is the day I was also expelled. The deputy there told me that I was in rags. I would not expect such a student to be in school. So I went back.
That incident at Uriri Boys would see him join a less prestigious school in his village, which incidentally was his father's place of work.
The only thing that I remember that one day, I was a day scholar between Form 1 and Form 2. But one day we used to take lunch in school. I was seriously bullied. I remember one person, one of the students, gave me a plate to go and wash. And that was against the tradition at home. Men were not allowed to be around such places. I don't know why, yet my father was a cook. So when I sluggishly picked the plate, he slapped me and I flew from one corner of the dome to another corner. That is one thing that I'll never forget.
To get him through his high school education, his dad and 3 other mothers will pull resources together by doing manual jobs in the school, and the payment will go straight to his school fees. It is from his experience that he draws his lessons, optimistic that every person can chip in to educate a child and build a generation.
So if we can be honest with ourselves, then the resources available for empowerment of the society when it comes to education, then all will be well. But if we are dishonest, then the society we are living in will be paving way for the sack of poverty.
But does he have conflict with his family when spending most of his savings educating the less fortunate in the society?
I've never found a challenge, because as I also help others, God provides avenue for my kids they also go to school. And there have never been any resistance, even from my wife. There's cases where she is even involved.
He plans to have a structured way of helping more children in future who may have a thirst for education but little resources. His story gives credence to the adage that indeed it takes a big heart to educate little minds. Achola Simon, Sunday Express, Migori County.
Hazina ya fidia ya wanabima, the Policy Holders Compensation Fund, PCF, shirika la kiserikali chini ya hazina ya kitaifa na mipango ya kiuchumi iliyoanzishwa chini ya sheria ya bunge kwa jukumu la kulipa fidia kwa madai ya wanabima waliowekwa chini ya usimamizi wa serikali au wale ambao leseni zao zimebatilishwa. Hazina hii pia ilianzishwa kwa lengo la kuimarisha imani katika sekta ya bima. The Policy Holders Compensation Fund, dhamana ya bima yako.
What am I forgetting? Nini. Workers paid. Rent checked. Mlango locked. Visiting notice. Goza mzae silitoa jana la internet sorted. What is it? What am I forgetting?
Nini? Nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Unaweza shinda hadi milioni 2 kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, weka neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000. Lipa, kisha subiri draw. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLP.
To get Skizatune Hail Mary, dial *811 *963#.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
To get Hail Mary, dial *811 *963#. *811 *963#.
야, 나 개강이야. 네가 가봐. 예? 아니 근데 지난번에 말했잖아. 또 까먹었냐? 어?
경찰에 신고할 거야. 신고해. 어쩌다 신고해. 자, 그냥 갑시다. 모른다고 하잖아.
회도 가시고 청와대도 가시고. 왜 안 되면 교황님한테 가서 이르세요. 일로. 교황님.
And to get to the heart of the matter, tonight's conversation around access to family planning services. To take us through this conversation is none other than Dr. Clive Gallo, who is the Programs Manager, Reproductive Health Network, Kenya. Karibu sana. Thank you for your time. Yeah. So the latest report indicates that 62%, that's where we are when it comes to, use of family planning. Yeah. From what is your take in regard to this particular number?
Okay, thank you so much, Regina. According to the KDHS 2022, that's the Kenya Demographic Health Survey, it shows that the contraceptive prevalence rate is at 62%, which is quite an improvement from 2 years ago, because it was 58% 2 years ago. So we've made drastic improvement, but then we are not yet there. Yeah, we need to do more so that at least we scale up the service delivery and then the uptake of family planning. Yeah.
Dr. then what, we have emerging modern ways of family planning, but 62, as you've said, we still are to get to the optimum. Yeah. What is holding us back from taking up, family planning?
Yeah, so there are a number of challenges that holds people back. So one is preference. The people who prefer the natural methods, and then the others who want the modern, what we call the artificial methods. So when you talk about the 62%, then it combines, but then we focus more on the artificial, because the artificial we can measure, whereas the natural methods are not able to measure who is using the natural methods or not. Then the challenges that come, one, it could be the cost, there's a cost involvement in contraceptive utilization, so someone has to pay for it. But then, of course, we've been lucky that the government provides free services, but then not everyone would be able to access government services, because research shows that most Kenyans prefer going to private facilities where they have to pay for a service. So cost is a challenge, but also information. Most people don't have sufficient information about contraceptives. Then that affects the consumption and even the uptake. Then the other challenge there, we also have cultural barriers. Then we have culture that believe that they're not supposed to use family planning. And then even religious reasons also attribute to low family planning uptake generally. Yeah.
Now, looking at this particular report also now, it has also highlighted the areas like the counties of Mandera, Wajir, Marsabit, Garissa, lowest use of modern methods of contraception, while we have the highest unmet need, for family planning, very prevalent in Marsabit, Tana River, West Pokot, Samburu, Siaya, and Isiolo. What is so unique about, especially that, and this is not just contraceptives, just family planning, these counties unmet need? Why? What is so unique about this? Marsabit, Tana River, West Pokot, Samburu, Siaya, and Isiolo. What could be the issue?
So basically, unmet need is where someone wants to use a contraceptive method, but then they are not able to use it for one reason or the other. And then the counties that you've mentioned, they are statistics, like even if you talk about teenage pregnancy, they're the same counties that have high levels of teenage pregnancy. So one, it's still the same things about information, access, culture, and then the health-seeking behaviors, because we have counties where it takes someone a lot of time before they decide to go to a health facility for a service. So it's a myriad of factors that influence why County A does better than County B. But basically, it's usually the health-seeking behaviors, the health service delivery mechanisms, and then the NGOs and civil society that are in those counties. Sometimes you find that access, so for instance, Samburu, by the time they get a service, the knowledge, the information, the expertise, the health workers, even preference of going to work in Samburu and all those factors. So it really contributes to the uptake of family planning or even the shortages that come with it. Yeah.
Now, access brings in access, information, and cost. Yeah, but then even looking at this particular report, when I look at the report, it talks about women.
Yeah.
I have not seen anywhere, where men have been, yes, I know they were part of the survey, but men are conspicuously missing when it comes to matters of family planning. Yeah. Why?
Yeah, okay, of course, male involvement has been a challenge in most of the health services. One, even antenatal care, family planning, and even other health-seeking behaviors. So then, why? Because the reasons are like, we have a wide range of reasons. One of them is that even in terms of the services that men get in terms of contraceptives, currently we only have two. That is vasectomy and then the use of condoms. So then if someone doesn't want to go for vasectomy, then they have very limited options left. Yeah. So but then they're supposed to support, we are supposed to support our counterparts in terms of accessing services. One, you can accompany your partner or your spouse. You can discuss on the methods in terms of side effects, suitability. You can also provide support in terms of finances, transport to the facility, pay for the service. You can also provide that social support, encouraging someone in case there are side effects that come with the family planning. You become supportive to the partner. At least you understand that the contraceptives or the family planning methods have some side effects that we will expect over time. So being supportive, that's what we call the social aspect of it, helps someone feel that they are cared for. So that will definitely help in increasing uptake. Yes.
I want to be the devil's advocate in this. You've said it's because men have limited options when it comes to, contraceptives. But then, even with the limited options, a majority of them leave family planning, use of contraceptives to the women folk. So what is an organization that, like yours, Reproductive Health Network Kenya, doing to rope in men in this conversation around family planning?
Yeah, we've done, as RHNK, we've done several things. One, we've we have programs that support male involvement, where we identify male champions. Male champions are people who have supported their partners to access family planning. So then we get the male champions to advocate for family planning use. We've also used religious leaders who are mostly opinion leaders in the community. So then they're able to talk about family planning and the need for male involvement in family planning use. Then we've also provided information to the males so that at least they're able to know that family planning is a way, because of course economic situations, you need to have quality. The children need to have quality life. So then when they do the spacing, it helps a lot. So we've done quite a bit. We also have conference that we hold every year in June. This year we're going to be in Kwale from 20th to 22nd. It's about localization of global commitments. So global commitments are commitments that have been made globally, but then we want to bring them down to our country, Kenya. So at least we scale up the CPR that we talked about, the prevalence rates go up, then we have zero unmet need, even the maternal death. It's a whole set of issues of reproductive health. So we discuss, we get experts, we get the government officials, policymakers to discuss and see how we can domesticate or how we can localize some of the global commitments made by the UN, made by in the Maputo conference, the ICPD of 2025 that was made like 25 years ago. So how do we achieve some of these things by involving the people constantly? Yes.
Now, talking about inclusivity also, there are a lot of stereotypes around the use of family planning. Let's unpack the issue of family planning from that aspect, because so much has been said that is very misleading.
One of the challenges that affects family planning consumption is what we call the myths and misconceptions. So myths and misconceptions are false beliefs that someone will say that when I use a family planning method, this is what happens to me. But then they are not proven, they're not scientifically proven that it actually happens. So one, it's meant to discourage the use of contraceptives knowingly or unknowingly. So one of the things that we do is to ensure that we demystify the myths that come with family planning.
For instance, there's the use of the hormonal pill. Actually, either it is said it lowers libido as well as the user gains, some weight when they're using it. Yeah. As a doctor, tell us, is it?
Yes, so you see, the hormonal family planning methods contain the normal female hormones. We have progesterone and then estrogen. So then when you get them, side effects vary from one person to the other. So it's not a universal fact that all family planning methods or everyone will get maybe increased weight or decreased libido. There are client-specific side effects that come because of the hormonal aspect. But then these are things that can be managed. When you go to a provider, they can manage in case maybe you've gained weight. And again, we've got clients who report weight gain. But then if you look at the baseline weight at the time of initiating the method, and then the weight at the time of the complaint, you find that there's absolutely no weight gain. Actually, some have lost. But because it's a myth or it's a belief, then someone will say, I gained weight. But then there are also those ones who actually gain weight. But then so you look at what the amount of weight gain, is it bearable or not bearable?
So it is individual.
It's individual.
Now, there's also the controversial conversation around, men, going for vasectomy.
Yes.
And we posed a question to our viewers tonight and asked them their preferred method of family planning. And the men are saying they can never undergo a vasectomy. From a doctor's perspective, within the Kenyan landscape, is this something that you're likely to see gain traction, or is it just there because it's a modern, form of family planning?
Well, comparatively, 10 years ago and now, we've had increase in vasectomy uptake, actually not just in Kenya, but even in East Africa. In Uganda, for instance, there's quite high uptake of vasectomy in a place called Mbarara. So there's an increased uptake. So not all will be against vasectomy, but then others would actually prefer vasectomy because, one, it gives you some peace of mind because you're sure if you're done with your family size, you're done, and you'll not get any complications that comes thereafter. So for men, like I said, we have two options, vasectomy and then the condoms. So the uptake is increasing, but it's not yet where it's supposed to be, but at least the uptake has seen an increase trend. Yeah.
Now, what then would constitute, before we look at what our viewers are saying still online, what would constitute, an ideal form of family planning?
Well, like I said, family planning is individual based. So then what we do as providers is to give information, and then you do an assessment of the client. Then they're able to make a choice based on the side effects, the information, the advantages, the disadvantages, and all that come with family planning. So it's basically giving information, then a client is able to make an informed decision about which method would suit them, also based on other needs, because we also have eligibility criteria of what suits a particular person. Maybe if they have maybe coexisting, maybe comorbidities, they have some complications that will maybe make them not use certain methods. So it's really an individual, and it's not up to a doctor or a nurse or a midwife to prescribe a method to a client. It's based on what will suit a particular client at a particular time. So it's really about giving the information and packaging the methods, the side effects, the advantages, the disadvantages, and even demystifying some of the myths that come with contraceptive use.
Now, Daktari, as I'm trying to just rope together the feedback that we are getting on our social media platforms. So what is out there? Give us, just paint a picture of, the local family planning landscape in the country. What options are out there?
So currently we have the hormonal family planning methods and then the non-hormonal. Yes. So under hormonal we have the Depo-Provera, which according to KDHS it's the most popular. It's at 20%. Depo-Provera is the 3-month injectable, where we have the self-administered, which is called Cyanapres, which actually even as RHN we've promoted the use of Cyanapres because it's self-administered. You don't have to go to a provider to be injected. So it's at 20%. Then we have the hormonal implants, which we have 3-year implant and then 5-year implant. That stands at around 17%. Then we have the pills. The pills are also hormonal in nature. They come distant third. But then we also have other methods like the permanent methods, tubal ligation for female, and then vasectomy for
men.
Yes.
Now, quite interesting. I have a response here on actually in my inbox. Person has said P2. Now, we all know that, tell us, you're the doctor. They say that their preferred method is using P2.
Well, P2 is...
and I'm sure that's not the correct use of it's an emergency.
P2, like they would say, it's an emergency contraceptive pill. So, emergencies don't happen all the time. So that means you're supposed to use P2 once, actually, maybe once in 3 months. You're not supposed to use more than twice. So in case someone uses P2 most times, then at some point it fails, because like P2 is an hormonal method as well. So at some point it fails. And then even though sometimes you may use a pill when you're not in your unsafe days, for instance, and then you'll be loading your body with hormones when actually you don't need it.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is basically misuse of the pill.
It's actually one of the most misused, because we tend to create emergencies when we don't actually have emergencies. So that means you'll use an emergency pill when you could actually use another method which is more short-term or even long-term in nature. Yes.
And on that point where we create emergencies where they're not, we need to speak sports. We have been speaking to none other than Dr. Clive Ogalo, the programs manager at Reproductive Health Network Kenya, and has also informed us of having a conference that brings about everybody on board when you talk about matters of family planning. We take a quick breather. Sports is up next.
Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Are you a holder of unclaimed financial assets? Surrender unclaimed financial assets today and avoid the last-minute rush. Take advantage of penalties and fines waiver ending June 30th, 2023. Report and surrender unclaimed financial assets today. For more information, visit our website www.ufaa.go.ke/holders or contact us through holders@ufaa.go.ke or call us on 020-402-3000. Do not wait for the June 30th, 2023 deadline. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
My name is Jim Kahomura.
I started running in 1986, and I stopped running in 2000. And I used to drive a Toyota, and I like Toyotas. And again, it's the winning car of the current W Ferrari. Although you debuted us last weekend in Sardinia, but still Toyota is the car to go for. Now, those cars we used to drive then, we used to have what you call Group N and Group A cars. These days, we have the same cars, but classified in different classes. That's all the difference we have. The P1s are the first 13 drivers. Then you have the P2 and the P3s. Then we have the Arauco Rally stars. What people should look for is those cars are fast. And they do sprints. We used to do the marathon. And no matter what, the difference again is that anytime they do a stage, they can't do more than 100 kilometers without going for service. So natural is we have at least 3 loops done in the morning and 3 done in the afternoon. What would I advise the spectators to do is when you go in, don't bother going out, because those cars will come for the second round in the same stage. Now, if you do get out, it will be difficult for you to go and get in the other stage because it will be already crossed. We have 50 cars already, which means the first car will be 2.5 hours away from the last car. So it will be a busy day the whole day. We are now working from, I don't go to watch anymore. We work from the HQ, making sure that things run the way they should run.
It is the cup with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup, 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
Welcome back to Sunday Express. Let's now talk sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba has called on all rally stakeholders to expand and invest in talented youngsters to keep the cycle flowing as the country marks 70 years of rallying. The celebration of the rally legends last evening came just 12 days before the 2023 WRC Safari Rally Kenya, which will have 5 stages televised live on KBC Channel 1.
With the WRC Safari Rally Kenya 11 days away, Kenyan rally legends including Patrick Njiru were celebrated in a ceremony which from this year will be held annually. The government has a sports and creative master plan which will go a long way in supporting all sports across the country and kicks off with this year's edition of the WRC Safari Rally Kenya.
Rallying truly knows no boundaries of color, knows boundaries of race, knows boundaries of tribe. Rallying just brings people together.
After a 19-year absence, the return of the Kenyan leg into the WRC series is a project the government wants to keep and has urged all stakeholders involved to expand and invest in youngsters who will keep the conveyor belt rolling.
The past of the rally is not just about rally cars zooming around. The rally inspired a lot of young people, and I'm just one of those.
158 legends were honored at the ceremony on Saturday evening in celebration of the 70 years Kenya has been involved in rallying.
My advice to you ladies, if you truly think you have the talent for driving or navigating, don't let anything stop you. It's a great sport, and your talent and ability is roaring near the surface. Go for it with all you've got, and you will get support from the powers that be.
KBC Channel 1 will be on to televise 5 stages of this year's WRC Safari Rally Kenya that has already attracted more than 30 drivers.
And I want, in a very special way, to appreciate our national broadcaster, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. That is our broadcast partner for this year. But really, you cannot speak 70 years of rallying if you do not mention KBC VOK. Because it is voices like the voice of Leonard Mambo Mbotela, voices of people like Pauline Shego here, who brought the rally to us. Let's give it up to the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC.
The Kenyan leg is the 7th round of the WRC series, coming after Rally Italia Sardinia and before Rally Estonia, set for the 20th to 23rd of July. After Estonia, the WRC will head to Finland, then Greece, Chile, Central European, and end the season at Rally Japan on the 16th to 19th of November.
Thank you, Buckley, for that report. Now you know as from the 22nd to the 25th, kindly keep it KBC Channel 1 as we will be beaming live 5 stages of the 2023 WRC. Moving on, Kenya has been drawn in Pool A of the 2023 Billie Jean King Cup Africa Tennis Championship, scheduled from the 12th to the 17th at the Nairobi Club. The 5-day championship has attracted a dozen countries from the continent.
Kenya will start their campaign against top-seeded Morocco tomorrow before playing neighbors Uganda on Tuesday. The host will be represented by a strong team that includes Angela Oktoi, Roslida Asumwa, Cynthia Cheruto and Alicia Owegi. Other teams in Pool A include Botswana, Nigeria and Namibia. Meanwhile, Pool B includes Tunisia, Ghana, Burundi, Zimbabwe, Mauritius and Seychelles.
I mentioned in the captain meeting before, we start with the second single, which is number 2, play number 2. After 20 minutes, we play number 1 against number 1. Doubles, you choose any players you wish. You can choose the same players. In singles, you can choose the 2 different player. And we said that after the second single, within 15 minutes, you can change the nomination of doubles.
The competition will start tomorrow and will end on Saturday, with teams seeking promotion to the next tier of the women competition. The tournament will be played in a round-robin format, where the winner will be promoted to the second-ranked division, while the bottom-place team will be relegated. For Sunday Express, I'm Fred Njogu.
All the sports stories we had time for tonight. Have yourself a peaceful night. My name is Karen Kibet. Have a lovely week ahead. Right after this short break, my colleague Regina Manyara will be back with more.
It is the cup with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup, 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
Now that puts a cap on Sunday Express. Tonight, what we're going to be focusing on in the week, it's looking at the finance bill vis-a-vis the presentation of the proposed budget 2023-2024, where government intends to spend 3.63 trillion shillings in that fiscal year. And on our conversation tonight, we had asked you, what is your preferred family planning method? Thank you very much, each and every person who participated in this particular conversation, sending in your tweets at KBC Channel 1 and at Ray Manyara. Marion, thank you very much. Shep Mombo, thank you very much for your contribution. Remember, you can catch a recap of this on our streamed, or rather on our platform on YouTube, where we have been streaming. I've been your host, Regina Manyara, and I wish you a pleasant viewing ahead.